Bim! Guess what? It's it's just gone 10 o'clock, and it is time on a Sunday for Newsnight at 10 weekly roundup. Yeah, I might be trying to get as many hashtags in there as I possibly can, but let's not worry about that. This is one of the most complicated things I do, and it's one that I get the least amount of views for. So yeah, we're going to do this. Don't forget you can join in the live chat if you're watching it live. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, etc, etc, etc. You can agree, disagree with what I say. That's entirely your choice. Yeah, basically, that's it, isn't it? We'll see who bobs on, and then we will get cracking with the news of the week. One thing I've not done actually is sort it out, mate. You need to sort it out. So you lot get yourself settled, get yourself a cup of tea or something a bit stronger. Remember, it's bank holiday, so the good news is you don't have to get up early tomorrow for work, unless of course you're me, in which case you have to get up early. Well, not earlier. No, not earlier. Later than you normally do, because I don't know. So yeah, let's go with that. There we go. And we'll let's flip on that, put that in there, close that down, go back on here. Colgate Top Cat, this is News at 10 with Elder McDonut. I'll go with that. Good evening and welcome to a Newsnight at 10 weekly roundup. Rollo here watching me and Kelly. Hi Stephen, missed you last week. Hiya Rollo. Hiya Kelly as well. Hope you're all good. I just need to change the thumbnail because I've just realised it's the wrong thing. So I'm going to change that there thumbnail. I'm going to change the thumbnail. What do you mean going to change the thumbnail? I'm going to change the thumbnail. Why are you going to do that for? Because I need to change it, that's why. To that. Right then, sorted. So, yeah, news roundup of the week, and we are going to be Newsnight at 10 weekly roundup of the week. I'll get there somewhere. And we're going to look at what has been going on this week in the news. Like I said before, feel free to join in the chat. You can agree, disagree, whatever. It's perfectly fine. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Otherwise, what's the point? We don't chat to each other. We'll never know what we think. We've all got all Mancunian on us. So let's have a look at the biggest stories of the week. Two big stories of the week. Both of them absolutely horrendous, but I mean, sadly, that's the world we're living in at the moment. Starting on Tuesday, let's get this thing going. There we go. Everyone else has joined in the chat. Hi T, by the way, if you're there. Hope you're good. That's completely the wrong thing. I want to go in that one. Thank you. Menus. Anyway, enough said. That Robocop game I've been playing last night was good. It was good. I did enjoy it. It was fun. If you want to listen to the podcast, there's loads of other stuff as well, including cooking, vlogs, Wig and Watch, and various other bits. And yes, I did a gameplay last night of the new Robocop game. Anyway, serious news stories, ahoy. Reports came in on Tuesday the 30th, early in the morning, that there'd been a madman running around with a samurai sword, injuring people. We later learned that a 14-year-old had been killed by a machete, as it was called at the time, in East London. There were 4 people injured. A 36-year-old was arrested and was not one of these people who was known to police, so not someone who'd actually been involved with the police services. The young boy was named as I've written it down. Where have I written it? I've written it down somewhere. Daniel Ajuran was 14 years old, and he was on his way to school where he was slaughtered by this gentleman who was, I use the term loosely, who was, hi Gordy Everton, hope you're good, tasered at this exact point by some very brave police officers. The guy had killed the 14-year-old, seriously injured 2 other people after driving a van into a house, then attacked 2 police officers, one of whom had to have major reconstructive surgery on her arm even, and then was cornered and tasered. He was 36 years old, and he appeared in court on Thursday. 36-year-old was charged with murder and 2 attempted murders and carrying a bladed item. And hopefully, I'll be honest with you, he rots in jail. Just horrible. Meanwhile, the warmonger, that is Benjamin Netanyahu, says he's sending in ground troops to Rafah regardless of the outcome of any peace talks. Now, the whole point of peace talks is, if they are successful, you have a ceasefire and peace. So if you're saying that you're going to go in regardless of the outcome, then what is the point of even going to the peace talks? Makes no sense. However, on Tuesday, the 1st of May, Israel opened the northern crossing into northern Gaza in order to let more aid in, so there'd be less need for the aerial drops which have been going on. Meanwhile, in America, pro-Palestinian protests were, that's not America, were, sorry, that's completely the wrong thing, were violently stopped by American police. Admitted some of the people had no idea what the hell they were talking about, but more of that later on. It was also revealed on Thursday that an 8-year-old, this 8-year-old, who was shot in the head, in not in Gaza, in the West Bank, may have been a victim of a possible war crime. He was 8 years old, he had nothing in his hands, and he was shot in the back of the head by Israeli troops who were in an armoured truck who was trying to shoot his friend, who they did also kill, who appeared to have something in his hand. Bearing in mind they were in an armoured truck, they opened the door to fire on these poor kids. 11 bullets and 1 in the back of the head. But Netanyahu is not a war criminal. Today even, he's a war criminal obviously, he rejects demands for a permanent ceasefire and threatens to close down the Al Jazeera news channel in Israel, which to be fair has been closed down in the UK, but for basically saying that what Israel is doing is illegal, which it is. Meanwhile, we sadly lost Duane Eddy, influential guitarist who inspired Bruce Springsteen, apparently. He passed away this week, aged 86, and today we lost another famous celebrity, Bernard Hill. I never realised he was the captain of Titanic, and he was in Lord of the Rings. I've seen Titanic, but I've never seen Lord of the Rings, but I remember him as Yosser in Gizzard Job, the Boys of the Black Stuff, Boys from the Black Stuff, which was a gritty drama back in the day. Anyway, actor Bernard Hill has passed away at the age of 79. It was announced earlier on today. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. It's been a bit warm in Halifax today. It's been a bit warm everywhere today. Why has it gone nice? Now I'm not posting leaflets anymore. Hashtag fuming. I've got hailed on, I've got rained on, I've got everything else. But anyway, you know. Anyway, this is the news of the week, as reported in the UK. Anyway, I'll leave you for the rest of this. Have a good bank holiday tomorrow. I'll be working, but I will have a good bank holiday, all being well. You take care, the Calderdale Top Cats. We'll see you next time. So, 29th of April, which was a Monday, SNP First Minister resigns after 13 months in office. I mean, you know, there are a lot of dangerous people getting into head government areas, but I think he was one of the most dangerous. A devout racist. I mean, unbelievable that the SNP even voted him in. But anyway, he's gone. Hurrah. Two men in court after a torso was found in a plastic bag in Salford 3 weeks ago. They've also since found various other body parts in various other bags, various other parts of Salford. East Africa sees massive floods following torrential rainfall. There are a lot of floods going on at the moment around the world, and we know ourselves in the UK how much rain we've had. Tomorrow, where you have been during lockdown tomorrow? I'm going to Haworth. I've done a walk round of Haworth. It's very nice. Bronte country. It's got a very it's very steep hill in two parts. Lovely part of the country though. Tuesday the 30th of April, the King visits cancer treatment centre and said he was shocked with his own diagnosis. Well, I think most people are shocked when they get such news, but it's good news to see him out and about and meeting public people, and to be fair, making his first visit to people who are going through the same thing as himself. The first failed asylum seeker has voluntarily flown to Rwanda, was given £3,000 to help him settle down in Rwanda, but it's nothing to do with the Rwanda deportation thing. It's a completely separate thing. Trump is fined $9,000 for contempt of court, and if he keeps breaking contempt of court rules, he could end up going to prison. Because let's be honest, $9,000 to him is like finding 5p or even 1p in your pocket. So it's not much of a deterrent. So the judge has said if you carry on doing it, because he's done it 9 times, he gets fined £1,000 every time, he'll just go to prison. Not very much from him since. It worked. Wednesday the 1st of May. Can you believe it's May already? And Haworth does get dangerous with crossings. Yeah, it does. Although there's a nice railway down there, although it wasn't operating, because like you say, I was there during lockdown. Well, not during lockdown, but during the crisis anyway. So yeah, 1st of May. Violent clashes in the US universities of pro-Palestinian protests. Police again basically on the side of Israel, and I've no idea what Israel, I keep saying this every week, I've no idea what Israel has got on everyone else on the planet apart from me. They just seem to be able to get away with anything, and then if anyone says anything against them, they're evil, they don't know what they're talking about. More of that later. The Co-op Arena cancels events again after debris falls from the ceiling. I say debris, it was an air conditioning unit, it's a bit more than debris. By the time it landed, it was debris. Third time, more postponements are on the way, and no one has any idea when it will open. Russia puts captured Western war vehicles on display in Moscow, which was basically exactly the same as Kiev had when Ukraine put the captured Russian weapons on display in Ukraine's capital's main square. But there was weapons from Finland, from Germany. I think there was one armoured truck from the UK, and various other bits and pieces as well. Mostly damaged, but they're all lined up in Red Square. Thursday the 2nd of May, elections closed at 10 o'clock. Mayoral elections, local elections and a by-election. And the question was, how bad will it be for Rishi and how good will it be for Keir Starmer? I'll be honest with you, it was very personal for me, because I was standing in the local election as an independent for Pemberton, and I got 522 votes, which was pretty much double the combined number got by the Conservatives and the Lib Dems. So you add them numbers together and then double it, and they would have only just beat me. However, it was just under half what the Labour candidate got, but it's Wigan, what do you expect? Even though Wigan is currently on its knees. One spoilt ballot paper had me in hysterics. Basically said all of these are transphobic, and then it said on it Free Palestine, and I'm like, bit mixed messages there, accusing everyone of being transphobic and then saying Free Palestine. I mean, if you're a trans, I wouldn't recommend going to Palestine. I'm just saying, hashtag. I get the sentiment, but yeah, some people. John Swinney puts himself forward for the leader of the SNP. Be interesting to see if anyone else stands against him. If not, he will become the leader of the SNP, but not necessarily the new First Minister of Scotland. The Co-op Live Arena, again, more cancelled shows, including Take That, as the heating and ventilation systems have worked loose, so they all have to be checked. Olivia Rodriguez concert cancelled for the weekend as well, which would have happened last night, but it didn't do because it was cancelled. Which brings us to the 3rd of May, which was a Friday. Worst Tory losses in decades in the local elections. However, and unsurprising to me, Labour didn't make the gains we were expecting. The gains were kind of spread out between Labour, the Lib Dems, a bit of the Green Party, a bit of Reform, and a few other people as well. So the votes were split, and Labour didn't get them all. And the reason for that is because, as I've said many times, I work in a shop in Wigan Town Centre. Wigan is, as we know, staunchly Labour. But the number of people who said they're not voting Labour at the general election, whenever that is, because they don't like Keir Starmer or the current leadership, because they don't feel it represents them, is phenomenal. And I would laugh so much if Keir Starmer did not get a massive majority. He's going to get in, we know that. But he's also going to completely mess up everything, because the guy hasn't got two ideas in his head. Or he does, he just flip-flops between them. Absolute nightmare when he gets in. But anyway, hopefully not with a massive majority. Former lawyer of the Post Office over the Horizon scandal denied that he told a big fat lie in 2013 after, well, basically lying, allegedly, and sending an 8-week pregnant lady, ex-post mistress, to prison. Lovely people, the Post Office. Brings us to Saturday the 4th, which was yesterday. Conservative lose the West Midlands mayoral vote, but only by 1,500 votes. Worse is yet to come as Sadiq Khan wins London. However, as people have pointed out, London is not what it was a few years ago. And people vote very differently now because they may be from different backgrounds, shall we say. Andy Burnham gets back in Manchester as well, so we're screwed. And there are more floods, this time in Brazil, many dead. In fact, it was reported on Sunday, which is today, 66 dead and 74 missing in massive floods in Brazil. Remember Brazil, the country that was actively encouraging people a couple of years ago to fell the Amazon rainforest, which is one of the lungs of the world, and now they're suffering with massive flooding because, well, it rains a lot, it's a rainforest, but now the trees have gone, they're not absorbing the water, so the water's now flowing down the rivers, and it's flooded. Oh, who saw this coming? Jesus. 4th day for people having no water in Hastings and other areas down Kent way after a water main burst. The water main has now been repaired, but again, it's private companies doing this, and private companies should not be involved in water. End of. And that was the news roundup of the week, which brings us nicely to world news reported this week. Now, this is where we look at the news from, well, as reported in America, Australia, and various other parts of the world, and just see what is going on. And the world news this week is starting with Australia, and the shock news, or the shock question: should old school discipline be brought back? I don't think they're on about the slipper of the cane, but the question is, should old school discipline be brought back into the classroom? Schools across the nation are planning to bring back old school discipline in a bid to stop violent and unruly student behaviour. The proposed changes will be based on a model already implemented in the UK, and the guidelines include methods of teaching kids how to line up and keep quiet. Yeah, I'd also get a big stick and beat them as well, like we used to get. Didn't never harmed us. And there's no respect from anyone these days. And the problem you've got is, these days, the kids at school are kids from children who had no discipline at school, so we're on the second generation. And then we wonder why there's all these stabbings, all this crime, all this antisocial behaviour. It's because they're not being told what is right and what is wrong, because the parents weren't told, and the kids are not being told either. We're too soft on the youth. Hello, Dream Frequency. Hope you're good. Meanwhile, in Australia, a cancer patient wins Australian 1.9 billion Australian dollars. A Latino immigrant who has battled cancer for the past 8 years has become one of the winners of last month's historic 1.9 billion Australian dollar Powerball jackpot. Oregon resident Charles Stapleton said he'll use the money to find a good doctor and will share the winnings with his wife and their friend, their one friend. I mean, Oregon's in America, isn't it? So it's not Australian at all. I thought it was Australian. Oh, it's not quite the same, is it? Because usually the joke is it's 1.9 Australian dollars, which equates to about 4.5 grand UK pounds. But yeah, it doesn't work. We got a good slap when we did anything wrong. You did, and you stopped doing it, didn't you? And the police used to drag you to your parents with your ear and all that. We bring it all back. Associated Press reported Netanyahu vows to invade Rafah with or without a deal as ceasefire talks with Hamas continue. I mean, what is the point of talking to someone like him? At least 25 people were killed and 30 more injured when a bus overturned and crashed down a slope into a river in northern Peru. Now, the roads in Peru are extraordinarily dangerous, as we know. How many times have we seen the show's world's most dangerous roads? Well, sadly, they did claim many lives earlier on in the week. Bonanza suspends all flights. Budget airline Bonanza has suspended services across the country. This is Australia, amid fears the airline has gone bust. Sources say planes have been repossessed, with customers left stranded by the sudden mass cancellations. So there was no warning. You were waiting in the airport and said, "Oh, sorry, bailiffs have come and took your plane." Lloyd Austin says US troops building Gaza aid pier can return fire if attacked by Hamas. Why would Hamas attack the American troops when they're trying to build an aid pier to get food into Gaza to save the Palestinians? Again, it's spin. What has Israel got on America and the rest of the world? Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told House lawmakers that US forces helping to construct a floating humanitarian pier along the Gaza Strip's coast may return fire of attack from the Hamas-run Palestine enclave, causing an uproar amongst both Democrats and Republicans. So yeah, it's a £320 million logistics over-the-shore jetty that they're building so that they can get more aid into Gaza without going through Israel. And then they're saying that they can fire back at the Hamas. I mean, Hamas is stupid. Hamas shouldn't be around. Hamas, I'm not defending them in any way, shape or form. But I think even Hamas are not going to attack the Americans because they are building something that's going to help them. Israel will invade Rafah with or without ceasefire. Our hostage deal, Netanyahu vows. Israeli Defense Forces will roll into the refugee-dense southern Gaza city of Rafah regardless of a ceasefire agreement, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed on Tuesday. Recent advancements in truce talks with Hamas fueled uncertainty over whether Israel would conduct military operations in Rafah, as Netanyahu previously pledged. But the Prime Minister made clear nothing is changing on that front. No, because he's a war criminal and you can't change your spots. He's gone power mad. Hamas should be destroyed, yes, but not at the expense of innocent Palestinians' lives. Biden has made 148 mistakes in public remarks so far this year. President Biden has committed 148 gaffes and verbal stumbles in public comment so far this year, which White House staff have been scrambling to fix in official transcripts. Biden, 81, tipped over his tongue at least 118 statements, speeches or comments between January the 1st and April the 24th, according to an analysis. See, I'm doing it as well. An analysis of White House records reviewed by the Daily Caller. So yeah, I mean, you've got to feel sorry for Biden. He's in a position that he doesn't even know what day of the week it is, and then he's expected to be the most powerful man in the world. Yale says encampment cleared, no protesters were arrested. Yale University officials said all protesters at an anti-Israeli encampment on Cross Campus chose to leave the area after facing potential suspension and arrest. Yale issued a final warning to protesters that those participating in the encampment must disperse or face discipline, including suspension for violating university rules and arrest for trespassing. All the protesters chose to leave the encampment, and the university is in the process of clearing tents and other items. Now, I'm pretty sure that when you're a student, you're as thick as pig shit, obviously, but they always protest about something or other. This time, it's against Israel, we can't do that. Oh no. Columbia University has failed to protect Jewish students during anti-Israeli protests, a lawsuit claims. Columbia University has been accused in a new lawsuit of failing to protect Jewish students amid a wave of anti-Israel protests rolling the Ivy League campus. The class action lawsuit, filed by an anonymous student, recognises the right to protest and that the college have long been a place for lively debate and opposing viewpoints. But they say that the Jewish students there felt unsafe. Imagine living in Gaza then. US to test ground beef in states with bird flu outbreaks in dairy cows. The US government said it is collecting samples of ground beef, minced beef, at retail stores in states with outbreaks of bird flu in dairy cows, and they are going to be tested, but remains confident the meat supply is safe. Federal officials are seeking to verify the safety of milk and meat after confirming the H5N1 virus in 34 dairy cattle herds in 9 states since late March. So yeah, is bird flu going to be the thing? But you don't eat, I mean, I get it in milk, but you don't eat mince raw. You cook the mince, and that would surely kill the bird flu. All viruses are man-made, says Jamie. Hi, Jamie. I think there were viruses around before man could make viruses, but I get where you're coming from. New US cars will be required to have automatic emergency braking in 5 years. In the not too distant future, automatic emergency braking will have come in standard on all new passenger vehicles in the US, a requirement that the government says will save hundreds of lives and prevent thousands of injuries every year. The National Highways Traffic Safety Administration unveiled the final version of the new regulation and called it the most significant safety rule since safety belts were in thingamabobs. And yeah, the problem is, if you're following a car that's got the automatic brake and it brakes automatically, you could drive into the back of it because you haven't got automatic brakes. So it doesn't really work in that respect. White House claims Biden monitoring college anarchy as president goes 9 days without an on-camera comment. So it's probably safer for him not to say anything going off what we've just said. President Biden is privately monitoring a wave of pro-terror anti-Israel demonstrations on college campuses across the country. Now, just because someone is anti-Israeli and it wants the war to stop in Palestine does not mean they are pro-terror. This is the media wording things in a way that is wrong. However, the tent there we can see does say on it, from the river to the sea, and that is a Hamas war cry or something similar, which is obviously not something that I would support. Hamas needs to be destroyed, but I wouldn't say that everyone, including me, who wants the war to stop in Gaza so that innocent children, the elderly, women and just normal citizens are not being murdered, for the sake of being murdered, I don't think that makes me pro-terror. In fact, I'm anti-terror because those people are living under terror given what the IDF are doing to them. But I do not support anyone who says from the river to the sea or anything similar to that. Because no, they need to be eradicated en masse. But of course, as I've said before, all these little kids you see, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, where the parents have been blown to pieces or shot or whatever, or their friends have been shot, they're going to grow up hating Israel, and they're going to be whatever replaces Hamas. Israel are building a rod for their own back, and they can't see it because Netanyahu is blinkered on world domination. Well, at least dominating that region. Why scientists lost track of a satellite in overcrowded space for 25 years. It's basically like air traffic control, they're saying. Thought misplacing your car keys was bad? A satellite called S73-7 that had been missing since the 1990s mysteriously turned up again this week, raising the question of how the Department of Defense lost the interstellar probe in the first place. The S73-7 satellite has been rediscovered after being untracked for 25 years. I'm not arguing with you, Dream Frequency. Hamas are evil, but it's not the people's fault that is going on, but they're being slaughtered and mistreated by Israel about it. And there's no excuse for what Israel's doing. As far as I'm concerned, Netanyahu and the American government who are supplying weapons and the UK government who are supplying weapons to Israel should be up in the Court of Human Rights, as should Blair and Bush for the Gulf War. That was a war crime as well. And obviously Putin and various other insane leaders around the planet. A Jewish group calls on New York City lawmakers to address dangerous takeovers by anti-Israel protesters. A group of Jewish New Yorkers want the city council to do something about out-of-the-control anti-Israeli protests plaguing the Big Apple, saying the raucous demonstrations have Jews fearing for their lives. I'll feel safer in Tel Aviv, which is right now a war zone, than I do in New York City, outspoken Columbian University professor Shah David said at a press conference. He wants Hamas gone for good, but like I've said before, he wants Hamas gone for good, Dream Frequency. You are right, and I agree Hamas needs to be gone for good, but the way he's doing it, he's creating the next generation of Hamas, because he's killing parents, grandparents, siblings, friends of children who will grow up hating the Jews. That's the problem. And I don't blame anyone. I blame anyone. I would argue with anyone who supports what Israel is doing, whether the Jewish, Christian, whatever. I would argue about it. But I wouldn't blame anyone in the UK or America for what Netanyahu and the war crimes that are being carried out by the IDF are doing. It's not their fault. It's like I can't be blamed for what Blair and Bush did. I didn't agree with it, and I said so at the time, obviously not on a public platform like this, but I definitely said at the time to anyone who listened to me that we are committing war crimes, and it was proven so because no weapons of mass destruction were found. And I still say to this day, and I will say this forever, that I think the Israeli Defence Force knew exactly what was going to happen. If you look into the details of the attack at the festival, and you look into what happened with the festival, it ran on for 1 day longer than it should have done, and it also was moved nearer the borders shortly before it occurred. So if you're not telling me that this wasn't provocation, or at least waiting for something to happen from Hamas, who are always going to do something if given the opportunity to do so because they're evil, twisted motherfuckers, then I think it was a bit of, you know, all that kind of thing. Throw Alistair Campbell in there with Blair and Bush. He's just as much blood on his hands. Something smells. Oh, sorry about that. You'll see the review for some food I've been eating. It's very spicy. UCLA protests turn violent as fights break out and firecrackers explode in tent city. Remember, these people are asking for peace. and then the police go in, mob-handed. An anti-Israeli protest at University of California, Los Angeles turned violent as fights broke out and firecrackers were thrown at the makeshift tent encampments. The commotion broke out at UCLA in Westwood after several agitators attempted to break down a barricade set up on campus. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is an absolute nonsense. And students, like I said, they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. But you have a right to protest. Central Park visitors no longer feel safe as crime dramatically soars, but police say they've stepped up patrols. New Yorkers are on the edge over soaring crime in Central, and say they've been forced to switch up their routes to avoid becoming targets as police pledged more patrols. I would never walk on this side of the park at night. It's not all glitz and glamour like the movies make Central Park out to be, said a young mother troubled by a series of high-profile crimes that have included shooting, stabbings and muggings. Yeah, I mean, last time I saw Central Park in a movie, there was a yellow taxi cab being driven very erotically by a certain Bruce Willis. But there you go. And prior to that, there was a woman being covered in pigeon shit in a Home Alone 2 movie. And I think it was featured in Central Park as well, in things as well. Oh, and also Doctor Who. I think they were in Central Park once as well. But all of them during the day, apart from young Kevin, who used to go there at night, even though he was a kid. Very brave. A drunk Yellowstone tourist kicks a bison, injuring himself before getting arrested. An Idaho man was arrested after he drunkenly kicked a bison at Yellowstone National Park and injured himself. Clarence Yoder, these are the bison you were looking for, 40, approached the bison near the 7 Mile Bridge, roughly 7 miles east of the park's west entrance. That's why it's called 7 Miles Bridge, you dozy curse. Park rangers were alerted to reports of a man harassing a herd of bison. I mean, I'll tell you what, the bisons must have been pissing themselves, to be fair. Unfortunately, the administrators and or the company are not in a position to process or issue refunds at this time. This is the story earlier on in the week that Bonanza Airlines, budget airlines in Australia, had actually gone into administration. Bonanza's administrators have provided a bleak update to customers after the low-cost Aussie airline went into voluntary administration. You always feel sorry for people who are trapped somewhere and then have to pay a fortune to get out again. But then you've also got to look at people who just go for cheap travel and without thinking what the risk might be. Rhode Island, law enforcement officials are taking action against university students across America as the anti-war protests continue on campuses around the country. University communities remain on edge as more than 1,300 students have been arrested and multiple officers injured. So this is a peace protest, and you can see there the American police doing what they do best, assaulting the public. Mind you, it's amazing they haven't shot them. Law enforcement officials are taking action against university students across America. I think it's the same thing, but there's another picture of the law enforcement agents taking appropriate action against some peaceful protesters who want peace in Gaza. Well done, America. Sort your police force out. Meanwhile, in America, US job growth slowed more than expected in April, and the increase in annual wages fell below 4% for the first time in nearly 3 years. So basically, wage rises are going down, and the US job growth has gone down as well. So basically, the economy in America is knackered and doing worse than the UK economy. Hang on a minute. But we've got Brexit, and we've got the war in Ukraine, we've got all this stuff. How's America, which hasn't got Brexit? How's that affecting it? They were going to be part of the group who were going to buy Everton Bonanza along with 777. Oh. Hi, Reese. Hi, Toff as well, by the way. Interesting. Boeing is on the verge of launching astronauts aboard a new capsule. It's the latest entry to space travel. And that's the capsule. And it's made by Boeing. Would you get in that? They can't even make an aeroplane where the doors don't fall off or the windows don't crack. Or they don't just plummet to the ground for no reason. Why the hell would you get into a rocket? And looking at that, look at that piece of metal to the left of the picture, which is there, that bit that starts there and goes down there. It's rusty. This is space stuff. This is supposed to be stuff that's going into space. And the actual capsule looks like it's from the 1960s. Would you get on that? Would you go to space in anything with the word Boeing written on it? No. No. And no again. Killer nurse sentenced to hundreds of years behind bars for death of 17 patients. This is in America. A Pennsylvania nurse who administered lethal or potentially lethal overdoses of insulin to numerous patients pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder and other charges and was sentenced to life in prison. She was given 3 consecutive life sentences and another consecutive term of 380 to 760 years behind bars during a hearing in Butler. 380 to 760 years behind bars. Now it is 760 years, but for good behaviour she can get it out and get asked, well, she may get parole in 380 years. The big question is, why don't we have justice like that in the UK? Why don't we, when you send someone to life imprisonment, they get 20 years. No, if you've killed a kid, if you've killed a police officer, or you've gone around murdering people on a rampage, or you're a terrorist, you get life. You get sentenced to 1,000 years in prison. End of. We don't need you in society, ever. Doesn't leave the sort, does she? Whoa, calm yourself, Jamie. Cherry blossom under attack by branch-shaking social media influencers at Brooklyn Botanical Garden. Hordes of insufferable social media influencers have been aggressively shaking the cherry blossom trees at Brooklyn Botanical Garden to get the perfect shot, forcing security guards to shoo them away 40 or 50 times daily. The posters learned dozens of selfie snappers were spotted yanking branches so pink petals would flutter down like snow whilst they took a selfie. What pretentious tossers they are, aren't they? Why don't we just shoot them and then we could use their bodies to fertilise the trees? Environmentally friendly, you see. Oh, we take the lead out of the, obviously we don't want to poison the trees. Influencers, really, you wouldn't get me being an influencer. Don't forget though to buy this fantastic, why have I got white teeth, you ask? Well, I use this thing that I put in my mouth, it's great. And yeah, no, nonsense. A wife of California doctor who drove Tesla off a cliff with the family inside speaks in court for the first time as kids ask, when's daddy coming home? Now you remember, this was a year or two ago, there was a Tesla car that crashed off a cliff, and it seemed like a tragic accident, but as time's gone on, it seems it was more a murder-suicide attempt where the doctor, the man, was trying to kill his entire family and himself by driving his car off a cliff. However, the wife of the California doctor accused of intentionally driving the Tesla off a cliff with his family inside last year begged prosecutors to drop his attempted murder charges during a courtroom testimony. Dharmesh Patel was reportedly emotional as he listened to his wife Nihal reflect on the incident. I mean, no. If he deliberately did it, you need to find out he did do it, but if he deliberately did it, he needs to go to prison. You don't drive a car off the cliff with intention of killing your entire family. Arizona Governor Kate Hobbs signs 1860 abortion ban repeal. Arizona Democratic Governor Kate Hobbs signed a repeal of a 160-year-old law that outlawed most abortions in the state. Today we are doing what 23 governors and 55 legislators refused to do, and I'm proud to be one of the ones that got this job done, Hobbs said at the bill signing ceremony one day after the repeal measure cleared the Republican-controlled state Senate on a 16-14 vote. So basically, for 160 years it was illegal to have abortions, but she's now said under certain circumstances you are allowed to have legally an abortion, which I think is very good indeed. US issues travel warnings for Germany. Terrorist groups keep planning attacks. The United States has issued a travel advisory to Germany over fears of terrorism. The Department of State upgraded Germany to level 2 out of 4, an edict to exercise increased caution, with the start warning terrorist groups keep planning attacks in Germany. The US government added that tourist locations and transportation hubs are frequently targeted, along with hotels, restaurants, museums, etc. Funnily enough, I say funnily enough, but not really, one of the more colourful characters who comes into my shop, a more aged gentleman, but oh yeah, it's just fantastic. He told me yesterday that he got woken up in the morning, or when he woke up in the morning, he had a message from the Home Office on his phone. You're like, what? I'm in already. I'm in on this story already. And it was warning him not to go near any bridges whilst he was on holiday in Denmark. He's planned to go to Denmark on a weekend holiday or a week's holiday or something, and it coincided, although he didn't do it for this reason, but it's coincided with the Eurovision Song Contest going on. And apparently the UK government have said that there is a high risk of terrorist activity during Eurovision in Denmark, and therefore to avoid large crowds and bridges, which in some parts of Denmark is quite difficult, because if I think correctly, there's a lot of places in Denmark where it's just made up of islands and they're all linked together with bridges. Anyway, he says, you know, I'm 70 odd, I'm going anyway. But yeah, can you imagine waking up and getting a text off the Home Office warning you not to, to proceed with caution, going to Denmark of all places. Anyway, you heard it here first. Well, rather second, to be fair. Although you probably, yeah. California mocked over $11 billion high-speed rail bridge to nowhere that took 9 years to build. So this is a bridge in the middle of the left-hand picture, and you can see both ends of it from the same picture. It's cost $11 billion and it's not connected to anything. California is taking the heat for celebrating the completion of a high-speed rail bridge that has cost taxpayers in America $11 billion and took 9 years to build, and clearly goes nowhere. Critics, including Tesla founder Elon Musk and Dogecoin creator Billy Marcus, are ripping the Californian High-Speed Rail Authority after it boasted about last year's completion of the Fresco River High-Speed Rail Bridge. The Eurovision is in Sweden. Okay then, it's Sweden. I couldn't remember whether it was Denmark or Sweden, but either way, that's where he's going. Having said that, Sweden isn't far from Denmark, so it might be linked. You never know, there might be hotels being used in Denmark. Anyway, Andrew, welcome and thank you. Oh, a bit of Victorian times. No, it's not. It's not smallpox, it's monkeypox. Monkeypox cases spike in New York City, with Big Apple averaging dozens of cases a month, which isn't a lot considering the population, but considering where it was a while ago, it's a hell of a lot. The number of cases of Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, because obviously we can't offend monkeys, so we have to call it Mpox now, has spiked in the Big Apple since October, with a high of 51 cases in January, and since October the city has averaged 36 cases a month, an increase from 2 to 20 cases per month for most of 2023. Of the 256 reported cases from October through April, Most were somewhat benign, but many people were hospitalised. So monkeypox, we've been talking about monkeypox on and off for a couple of years now. Anyway, it's made its way to New York. Ban on deceptive mask wearing pushed after violent campus takeovers by cloaked agitators. It's time to bring back a pre-COVID law forbidding groups of masked people from gathering together in public, activists and officials insist. A nearly 200-year-old law that made it illegal to be disguised in public was repealed in 2020 to allow mask wearing to prevent the spread of the virus. But face coverings have recently made a comeback as part of the de facto uniform of protesters. Now, I am very for this, surprisingly. The way I look at it is, if you believe in a cause, doesn't matter what the cause is, but if you believe in a cause enough to travel to, be it to the town centre where you live, or to the capital of the country you live in, or even to other countries, to meet up with like-minded people, to push your feelings across, be it protesting against something or protesting for something, then you should not be allowed to wear a mask of any kind. Because wearing a mask, well, what's the point of being there if you've got a mask on? If you believe in whatever you believe in that much that you've gone to the effort of going there, then at least show your face. Plus, it should be illegal for anyone to wear a mask in shopping centres or anything like that, unless it is just a COVID mask. Because obviously some people, you know, the surgeon mask things, because some people are still terrified of catching COVID, and rightly or wrongly so. Some people have medical issues and things like that where they feel more at risk, anxiety, that kind of thing. But if you've gathered somewhere like in London, or if you've gathered in Manchester or Wigan Town Centre, and you believe so much that you've actually done that, then I fail to see why you should be allowed to wear a mask. Off topic here, didn't you upload a talk between yourself, Jimmy, or Luke Marsden? I can't see it on your page. I didn't know it. It's on the Wigan Jokers Facebook page. He filmed it. I was just on it because he was in my shop. He doesn't wear a mask and he talks crap as well, so there you go. Boeing faces 10 more whistleblowers after 2 die as people's lives are at stake. The sky's falling, at least on Boeing. A second whistleblower has died under mysterious circumstances just 2 months after another one allegedly shot himself multiple times in the head. And the attorneys for both men hope their deaths don't scare away at least 10 other whistleblowers who want the company to clean up its act. Yeah, basically, as I said before, would you get in anything that's got the word Boeing on it? Or would you get into a rocket made by these people? I'm going to watch the Bob Brealey talk soon. Seems a decent bloke, does Bob. He speaks, Bob Brealey speaks as he finds. I had a quick chat with him at the local election count, and yeah, he calls a spade, and if he doesn't like someone, or he doesn't like something, he'll say it. I did have to edit a little bit because there was a bit of slander maybe going on there, although it probably was accurate, but you don't want to mess things up for him within the thing, so yeah, I had to do a bit of edit. But yeah, no, he's a politician who for me is there for the right reason, and that's not to blow his own trumpet or to have a statue of himself in the middle of the town centre or have a street named after him or whatever. He's there to make life better for the people of his ward and the people of Wigan in general, which is exactly what I want to do, but sadly was not given the intention or the ability to do so. Long Island vegan bakery voluntarily recalls baked goods after allegedly passing off Dunkin' Donuts as its own amid a probe. Long Island vegan bakery voluntarily recalled some of its baked goods amid a state probe after allegedly trying to pass off Dunkin' Donut as their own item. It's called the Savoury Fig in Pashutingun. Was called out by a local vegan grocer after their sorry, as their Their donuts bore a remarkable resemblance to one sold in a nearby Dunkin'. New details emerge about NYPD cops' purely unintentional gun discharge during Columbia raid on anti-Israel protest inside Hamilton Hall. The New York PD sergeant who accidentally fired his gun during a raid, an operation to oust anti-Israeli protesters from Columbia University, mistakenly let the slug fly as he shifted the weapon from one hand to the other so he could unlock an office door. Well, that seems legitimate then, doesn't it? America, seriously. New York City funeral home chain preyed on customers for years. Once presented a dead man's body inside a plastic bag for the family to view. A Bronx-based funeral home chain accused of preying on its customers for years did such shoddy work it once presented a dead man's body sitting inside a plastic bag for a viewing. I mean, we've got the issue at the moment in Hull with a funeral home, numerous funeral homes being investigated for wrongdoings, and last year and the year before there were quite a few cases in America where there were stacks of bodies found in funeral homes. And this one, again, I mean, I don't understand why people think they don't have to treat the dead with respect. I mean, for the person who's passed, it's somewhat irrelevant. But for the families of those people were loved. They were fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, partners, siblings, relatives, friends, whatever. People loved these people, and for their benefit alone, the body should be treated with respect, and they should be dealt with in a manner that is fitting for a life of someone that's been lived. And you know, I'm terrified of dying. God knows what they're going to do with my body. To be fair, they'll probably frame it. I know Wigan Council probably would. Probably stick it on a pole somewhere going, hee-haw, he's dead. Which brings us to the news that makes you go, oh, ugh, and, oh, Banksy. So this is the lighter side of the news, because we need that after the news, don't we? Because the news is so bloody awful at the minute. We need something to lighten the load. Now, this is something I spotted on Northwest Tonight last weekend. And, I mean, I'm not body shaming anyone. It's just unfortunate. The studio at the moment, the main Northwest Tonight studio, is being done up. It's been remodernised or whatever, and they're spending a lot of money on it. They use it for other things as well. It's not just Northwest Tonight, so it's having a refurb, even though it's not that old, a freshening up. So they're in what basically looks like a broom cupboard for the time being, which features a screen behind the newscaster, which is also behind a sofa. And the first news, or some of the news that I saw the other week, oh yeah, Angela, welcome. There was this story about this, well, are they cheerleaders that had gone to America or somewhere, and they'd won the gold medal in the class that they were in for cheerleading. So they come back, and they'd chosen a picture to put on the big screen behind the newscaster. Unfortunately, because of the TV and the actual positioning of the TV, the bottom line of the TV, you know, the black line of the thing that goes around the screen, and the red sofa, it come out looking rather unfortunate. It looks like the poor girl is resting her stomach area actually on the sofa. And I must admit, it did make me lol. I'm not having a go at anyone. It's just unfortunate the way it's the way that the picture worked, and I'm like, that can't be right. Has no one seen that and thought that looks like she's resting her tummy on the? I mean, we've all done it, you know. I've got a belly and I rest it on things, you know. But it's just an unfortunate placement of the TV, the sofa, and the fact that the young girl in question has got a red top on as well. It just all looks very peculiar, and I'd say it made me chortle a little bit. So I apologise if I offend anyone, but I just thought it was quite funny. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Well, I still can. What's this one? Oh, this is the Viz. They say that an infinite number of monkeys with typewriters would write the complete works of Shakespeare. I'm more than a little disappointed that, with all that manpower, they would resort to plagiarism instead of coming up with something original. Perhaps Attenborough and his ilk might like to think again about how supposedly intelligent our primate cousins are next time they're putting a series together. And that's from Gerald Preston in Weston-super-Mare. Probably not, to be fair. But yes, it's often said that an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of time with typewriters would eventually write the complete works of Shakespeare. But yeah, they should be writing original stuff. I agree completely. Lack of support forces diverse unelected leader to announce resignation. Oh, sorry, wrong photo. That's from Have I Got News For You. Obviously referring to Yusuf Hussein, or whatever he's called, in the SNP leader, or still leader to be fair, until a replacement is found. Talk is now Talk, not Talk TV. And this is someone saying what we've seen in the NHS over the last decade is called institutional capture. Now the NHS has declared that sex is a biological fact in a landmark shift against gender ideology. Now remember a few weeks ago we were talking about an interview that Piers Morgan did with some nutter where she said that if you're in hospital and you're unconscious, for example, so you've had an accident, been knocked out, you should be referred to as they rather than he or her until your gender can be divulged either by yourself, should you wake up, or by a family member or friend. Absolute nonsense. And finally, the NHS is waking up to this. You think they'd know, wouldn't you? What with all the, medical experts there. Mind you, there's too many chiefs and not enough nurses and doctors. We need to get rid of at least half the management of the NHS. And that would instantly get rid of, if we use that money to get more nurses and doctors, that would instantly get rid of all the waiting lists. It's not rocket science. It's running a hospital. A nice old lady there being grabbed by the, I have to be careful how I word this, by the grabber at a holiday resort, it looks like. And yeah, it looks like the other one was actually using it, but she's actually rooting around in a bag. It's took the NHS quite a while to speak up on the gender ideology. It has. Like I said, they were on about referring to people as they and it or whatever. I can't remember what the exact terminology is. They and yeah, them and they instead of he and her, because if you're unconscious, they wouldn't know what you were. No, you're either you just look, in the lower regions, and it's either male or female. End of. You can always sort the rest out later. The pronouns, yeah, absolute nonsense. This is brilliant. It's called dark humour, and it's not wrong. When you live in the hood, but you know everyone. So yeah, you've got like a heron or a crane riding on the back of an alligator or a crocodile. I don't know. I'm not being a reptilist here. And it's, yeah, when you live in the hood, but you know everyone, so you can do what you want. No one will harm you because they all know you. Whereas if anyone else tried doing that, you get eaten alive or shot. Did make me laugh. We have moved on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't say we should go back to the 1930s. when women were judged by the attractiveness of their ankles in the 1930s. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never found anything lower than the knee even remotely attractive on anyone, least of all me. But yeah, apparently, back in the day, ankles were deemed attractive. I mean, look at this pervert. I mean, what is going on there? And this was allowed. Yeah, we've come a long way since then, but we've gone way too far the other way. Oh, I do love a good e-fit. You know, when they look for criminals by making a picture up. Kent Police in Tunbridge Wells. Investigators have released a computer-generated image of a man they would like to identify in connection with a burglary in Tunbridge Wells. Radio X have said this could be anyone from a 2007 indie band. It could. It could indeed. Crikey indeed, Jamie. Ozzy Osbourne wants to win an Oscar and finishing a gig without falling over. I don't know if can a gig without falling over, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, yeah, he wants to win an Oscar and he wants to finish a gig without falling over, basically. That's nice. That fringe is wild. It's very nice. It's very very 90s. Group of youth there, they look like they're up to mischief. Look at them. None of them got a mask on though, so they're probably not, but they've had the face blurred. Kind of, you know, they've got blurry faces like some aliens out of Doctor Who. The thing is, you think these lads were bad news, wouldn't you? Actually, they call themselves the Rubbish Robbers and go around Redruth cleaning the streets, bushes, parks and town centre when nobody is watching. So basically, these 5 lads go around picking up litter. That's nice, isn't it? See, there are some good kids out there. Definitely a UK peak moment when Victorian roads are being unveiled by massive potholes, and the actual roads are in better condition than what the roads are that were built on top of them. That fringe looked like from Campbellwick Green. Hugh Brill, Bonnie McGrill, Cuthbert Dibble, Grub. You're not wrong. That's genius. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but it was May the 4th be with you. And this warning label on a car recommends that you have a B1 battle droid with you at all times. So you have a cross there for no B1 battle droid, and then you have a cross. You have a photo there in the Audi saying, "Yep, you're safe because you've got a B1 battle droid strapped to your back." Obviously, it's a headrest, but yeah, I don't even know what. Ironically, I've never seen any film other than what is now called A New Hope, but was only called Star Wars back in the day. Never seen another one, but I still get the joke. The only bumper sticker I can relate to, and someone's got on there, is "My driving scares me too," which is, I think all professional drivers should have one of them on it. Angela Rayner has been signed up as the new host of Homes Under the Hammer. Is that true or false? This is from the talk show hosted by Andre called That Was the Woke That Was, where they look at news and the wokeness going on. Angela Rayner obviously potentially in trouble for potentially lying about her habitat whence she was standing for election as an MP, and also something to do with inheritance tax or I don't know. Anyway, she's in desperate needs, and so they've made the joke that she's been signed up as a new host of Homes Under the Hammer, and one would imagine she would say to the people, well, I know you can make money out of this and not pay any tax on it. I remember I think the one I come up was Trumpton, actually, not Campbellwick Green. Hugh Beale, Bonnie McGrill, Cuthbert Dibble, Grub. Pew Pew, Bonnie McGrill, Cuthbert Dibble, Grub. Oh, that's the, yeah. I put that in the joke section as well, because it is a joke, isn't it? AI will end the world by gaining our trust before turning humans paranoid. Artificial intelligence will be heralded at the end of the world by gaining the trust of humans before turning us all paranoid, scientists claim in a doomsday warning. Well, don't give them any guns. There you go, sorted. Don't remember Bod. Oh my God. I swear to God, when I first opened my shop up in Pem, there was a young lad who was coming to the shop. There was lots of young lads coming to the shop. It was a toy shop at the end of the day, for God's sake. And he'd come in, and he looked considerably younger than his years. And he oh, that's not what we're after. There we go. There we go. And there we go. And so bear with us. So he come into the shop, and I'm like, he reminds me of someone. I can't think who it is. And I'm like, who is he? Who's he remind me of? Anyway, I'm struggling. I'm thinking, and eventually, the penny dropped, and I just need to get rid of that. Go on to that. Go into there. Refresh that. Click on that. Go on there. Click on that. Bear with me a minute. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Not that one. We don't want to go into that one. We want to go into there. We want to go there. What's it zip to? Oh, there we go. It's that one. So I want one. There we go. Down one. Oh, is it already there? Where's that? There we go. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay. So, and I swear to God, spit an image of Pob, which was a creepy cartoon, puppet character from the 80s, 90s TV that basically gobbed on the screen and then wrote its name with its finger on the gob. By gob I mean on the screen. It was completely scary creature thing. But that's exactly what the kid looked like. He had big sticky out ears, he had like lips like that, and he had sticky outy eyes. And I'm like, oh my God. So I just called him Pob. Bod even, not Pod. Yeah. And yeah. Opinion on Prince Andrews. He should be shipped to Rwanda. Next. Anyway, we digress. Where are we up to? This guy, I think. I don't think we've done him. Entire nation told to turn basement into air raid bunkers, fearing Putin invasion. The instruction comes amid growing fears among multiple European nations they could be next in the firing line if Vladimir Putin's possible expansion into the continent. Ship him off. Ship him off. Mind-blowing footage. I beg to differ, but anyway. Mind-blowing footage shows deep sea sub come close to prehistoric monster. Experts were left stunned after Ocean X submersible happened to come across a huge creature believed to predate the dinosaurs and was able to tag it to find out more. I mean, you know, we do live in 2024, you know, 4K cameras and things like that, and that is impressive, is it? That's mind-blowing? I don't think so. This is better. It's a shark. Shark attacks are surging. Brits warn not to provoke sea predators on holiday. I mean, for a start, I don't think you can provoke a shark because it doesn't have the mindset to be provoked. You can piss it off and it'll eat you, but it's more likely going to eat you because you're food. I don't think provoking it is going to make any difference to the outcome of your imminent death. Anyway, shark attacks across the globe have worried experts, Brits, heading on their holidays. But an expert, yay, has weighed in on the surge of attacks as they say exploratory bites can develop into fatal encounters. So yeah, they give you a little nibble just to see if you're tasty and see if you're edible, and if you are, they'll eat you. Last thing I want to do is provoke a shark in its natural habitat. Absolutely correct, Jamie. We are invading their space, so you do not piss it off. Kim Jong-un picks 25 virgin girls every year to be part of the pleasure squad. Oh, the honour, can you imagine? Oh, Kim Jong-un, what a hunk of a man to take your V. Oh, the lucky women. A woman who fled from North Korea to China in 2007, aged 13, said she was scouted by recruiters for a pleasure squad of girls that would be used for sex by Kim Jong-un. Oh, I mean, that's just, oh, I can't imagine anything more pleasant. What are my thoughts on the Rwanda bill? I think it's a load of bullshit, to be honest. What we should do is send them back to France. That's where they come from, last safe country. Why the hell we can't do it is beyond me, because that's a legal thing. People can be taken back to the last safe country that they left from. It sounds like the Joy Division of World War II. Let's dance as Joy Division and celebrate the irony. Politicians plan to save the UK's worst hotel, dubbed slug-infested shithole. But our grand ambitions hit a snag. With Scarborough's biggest eyesore, the Grand itself, standing in the way, we cannot truly reverse decline while the town's largest and most iconic building crumbles atop of the cliffs. Now, to be fair, it looks quite spectacular from the outside, but apparently it's not. And I did, one of my first ever walk around visit places was Scarborough. The reason for that was I filmed it in 1989 when I was now but a mid 20-year-old, and filmed myself there doing a really crap Wish You Were Here kind of program, which then I went back in 2019 and filmed myself throwing to myself over the decades, yeah, I referred to it as the hotel built on a wall, rather than anything else. Grand it wasn't. Can't be as bad as Wigan. Oh, there's places worse than Wigan. Finn's reviews. I merged your names together. That was nice. That's nice. Inside Boeing Starliner rocket built to take astronauts to Mars as launch nears. After years of setbacks, the Boeing Starliner is finally set to take to the skies, with people on board for the first time, having successfully run an unmanned mission to the ISS in 2022. I wouldn't get in anything that's got the word Boeing on it at the minute. Certainly not in space anyway. Good news for all those old fogies. Real lives Dad's Army could boost UK's defences in Doomsday World War III scenario. Britain could implement a real life Dad's Army in a bid to boost the nation's defences in the event of World War III, with the Citizens Army being considered by the Ministry of Defence. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Putin? To be honest, complete waste of time, because it's going to be a cyber war. Everything's going online, so all you need to do to bring a country down is destroy the internet in that country. You win the war. Don't mention Boeing, you'll get silenced. Yeah, I do feel the urge to shoot myself 5 times in the head having mentioned Boeing. So if I do so, it's obviously suicide. Have you got any vacation planned for this year? No, I work 7 days a week. My next day off scheduled is Christmas Day. Other than that, I'll be in my shop every day, unless I'm ill, of course, or something else happens, like I die. But, you know, from shooting myself in the head, because I'm slagging off Boeing a lot. King Charles's secret son shares photos in fresh bid to prove royal heritage. British-born Simon Charles Dothray Day now lives in Australia and reckon he is King Charles III and Queen Camilla's secret illegitimate son, and he's on a mission to prove it. Seems about as realistic as that freak who decided she was Madeleine McCann last year. Holiday hotspot sees deadly surge of 1700s vomiting virus that makes gums bleed. People considering a trip to Bali, Indonesia are being warned to take extra precautions following a surge in cases of dengue fever, a potentially deadly virus that makes your gums bleed. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? All these things trying to kill us, it's a wonder we're all still alive. would like a good rummage at your shop. We'll pick a few things up. Things trying to kill us, including world will be wiped out in just 72 minutes after nuclear launch from North Korea. A new theory on how the world could end in just 72 minutes has been aired by an investigation which showed North Korea could launch 2 missiles at the US and bring on the end of the world. The problem is that the nuclear weapons sent by North Korea to the US wouldn't even reach China, and their border on China. So I don't think we have to worry too much about it. I've seen more power in those rockets that you stamp on a thing and the air shoots it up in the park. But yeah, which is what I was on about before about the Dad's Army nonsense. It's either going to be cyber, in which case no one will set foot in the UK. It'll all be done on the internet. Or it'll be nuclear and we'll all be dead anyway. So it doesn't matter if we've got a Dad's Army or not. So the absolute thing is complete nonsense. As about some lions having sex. Frisky lions mate on top of a safari jeep, leaving tourists inside it in hysterics. A group of tourists were left in stitches as 2 lions started mating on top of their safari vehicle, with some covering their eyes and others whipping out their phones. I bet some others were whipping something else out as well, perverts. Yes. I suppose you gotta go. Of course, all the babies are going to be called Land Rover in respect and honour of David and Victoria Beckham naming their son Brooklyn, because that's where he was conceived. So if the cubs were conceived on top of a Land Rover, they're going to call them all Land Rover. World's deepest blue hole could harbour new life, but we may never find out. New Life was one of the breakthrough hits for Depeche Mode back in the 1980s, and they can't find the original pressing of it because all the vinyl were pressed from 2 metal plates and they disappeared. Apparently they could be in that deep hole there, but we'll never find out because it's 420 meters deep, so it's unlikely we're going to get down there to recover it. So we'll just have to enjoy New Life, the song New Life, operating, generating, new life. That was when Depeche Mode were cute suit kids from next door in suits, before they went all druggy and tattooedy and metally. I preferred them when they went all Master and Servants and Blasphemous Rumours and stuff like that. I'm a ghost whisperer. Spirits show me death wounds, and one even bit me. Katrina Ligito was just 3 the first time she saw a spirit. That's because she was born in a pub, and her mum was the landlady. What nonsense. Gobsmacked mum films great white shark off UK coast, leaving Brits terrified. Emily and Dan Rushton were walking their 11-year-old dog Woody at the beach. Why would you call the dog Woody? I've got a Woody. I haven't. At the beach in Goring-by-Sea, West Sussex, when they spotted what they believed to be a shark fin popping out of the water, and it's obviously a great white shark. Remember, folks, we live in 2024. Why hasn't anyone got a fucking camera that can take a fucking picture or something so we can identify what that kid is? Just saying. Rishi's Sunak's big nose sticking out of the water. Yeah, it's probably the bathwater, isn't it? It's 2 inches deep, and it's just his nose sticking out because he's that small. NASA's telescope gives weather forecasts for planets millions of light years away. WASP 43b is a hot Jupiter type of exoplanet, and details from NASA's James Webb Space Telescope have discovered it suffers from winds of more than 5,000 miles per hour. So they're predicting a weather forecast for a planet which is millions of light years away. It's not millions of light years away. It's a hot Jupiter type of planet. I thought it was round Jupiter. So it might be millions of... Why can't they just get the weather right on this planet? You know, point the fucking space telescope to us so we can see what's coming our way. Sniffing defeat. No one in Europe is safe if Putin wins the war in Ukraine, think tank warns. Well, we know that. A Russian victory in Ukraine would mean no one in Europe is safe and would give despot Vladimir Putin a worrying boost in nationalism, which he would use to support further wars in the West. He basically wants to get the USSR back together again. Of course, he's been dead for months, so I don't know who's doing it. It's just weird. Micro issue caused OceanGate Titanic sub's instant implosion, a study shows. The disappearance of OceanGate's Titan submersible captured the attention of millions around the world, and now, almost a year after it imploded, researchers are working out what went wrong. Yes, it was built shit, and it went too deep in water, being controlled by a wireless games controller. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I figured it out pretty damn quick. US-China war on moon now possible as experts fear space will turn nasty. I don't think it's nice already. I think space is a nasty place anyway. An expert reckons a very nasty Star Wars-like conflict could break out between the US and China in the wild west of space following the launch of China's moon probe. Now, so many things with this. Again, I refer you back to, it was May the 4th, to be fair, so Star Wars is relevant this week. Star Wars-like conflicts. Star Wars is fantasy. I don't think there's any Jedi. So, it's not like that. We haven't got lightsabers, so you can rule that one out. We haven't got spaceship with lasers on them. You can rule that out. So it's nothing like in Star Wars. It's absolute dog shit. But, let's go with the premise. China versus America. Which is the baddies? Which are the rebels? And which are the Empire, whatever they were called? And then, thinking of Star Wars, who were the baddies in that? Was the Empire really the baddies? Or were the rebels really the baddies? Nobody knows. And I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck. Anyway, yeah. Who's going to get probed? I Dim Litskit, welcome. Andrew Emerson sniffing defeat. We're talking about Rishi's in the bath, I think. Next global pandemic could be caused by zombie virus surviving in permafrost. I've been going on about this for a while as well. Scientists are digging or drilling miles and miles and miles into the permafrost at the Antarctic and Antarctic and the other one, and bringing out ice cores, and then looking for bacteria in the ice, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? If there's anything in there that could kill humanity, and we've not had anything to do with it because that's been in there longer than humans have been on the planet, then it's just going to wipe out the entire population. Insane. It's called Spithe. The zombie virus. Oh, God. There we go again. I was this for a creepy thing. Strange vase dug up by farmer causes his pigs to die as it haunts villagers. Superstition overcame the villagers of Gansu province in China, and the man's wife, who demanded the vase be destroyed before he donated the relic to Gansai Provincial Museum. So basically, he dug up this ancient artifact, and his wife said, "You've got to smash it to pieces because it's killing our pigs." Again, I say it does look like a mid-70s Doctor Who baddie. Pig Go sounds like Margaret Thatcher. Britain's heaviest man dies before 34th birthday as cause of death shared by mum. Tragic story. He was 50 stone, and the reason he died was because he was overweight. Next. News. Mystery UFO-like trio of objects spotted in the sky, not human-made or mechanical. The strange video filmed last month over Erbil, Kurdistan in northern Iraq shows three strange black objects speeding at different levels across a dark, rainy sky. They are not mechanical. Well, therefore, they're not flying saucers then, are they? So that ends that mystery. Next. I contacted aliens telepathically. They arrived in a UFO and made chilling movie. Oh no, chilling move. Robin Mobley Boyle told her wild story, very wild, of UFO encounter Facebook group, completely shocking other members who had also shared their crazy experiences, but her mind-boggling tale really takes the cat's whiskers. More alien stories. There's a batch of them here. Intelligent aliens will make contact soon. This is how they might find us. Well, probably burnt to a crisp after a nuclear war. We could be in contact with aliens within the next few years as our technology continues to improve, and they could be looking for us the same ways we look for them. But those are horror aliens, aren't they? They look a bit scary, not the nice friendly aliens that just stick a probe up your arse. Alien signed treaty with government as we've each got things the other wants. UFO expert Lee Baldley claims to go where no one's been before. Says the idea of the government and extraterrestrial life working together wasn't the craziest of ideas, and went further to admit he thought it was a real possibility. Well, he's an expert who knows coal then, isn't he? I mean, most experts do, to be fair. If you claim to be an expert, you know naff all. I did click on that, but it didn't come up. There we go. Putin on brink of bloodbath after Russian convict soldier turns gun on comrades. Mad Vlad's desperate policy of recruiting convicted criminals to send to the front line of Ukraine is showing further signs of backfiring, with one released prisoner turning his rifle on his fellow soldiers. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I mean, more of that the better, to be fair. A massive 3-foot world's largest rat that can sniff out landmines invading the US. Now, I'm not an expert on these things, but I don't think there's many landmines in the US, apart from those people who build those things, those shelters ready for nuclear war. They probably have landmines dotted around their properties. So a rat going to America to sniff out landmines seems pointless. They're better off going to wherever Prince Diana went those years ago, Afghanistan and all that, and maybe going to the border of certainly the war area of Ukraine and Russia and sniff out the landmines there as well. The only problem is they can only sniff out one because they aren't intelligent enough to disarm it, so they just sniff it out and then it blows up and kills them. It's a tragic story. Found one of them in work, called it Paul. Oh, are we on about the alien or are we on about the rat? Because the alien was called Paul, wasn't it? 3 sex positions to try on bank holiday weekend for leg-shaking organisms. You can revamp your bedroom antics with these saucy sex positions this bank holiday. And these kinky moves promise leg-shaking organisms, so get ready for some fun. Now, it's not something I'm particularly interested in at all with anyone. And I'm one of them that I always say I could live to be 100, never have sex again, it wouldn't bother me. I've done my bit, I've had a kid, she's had kids, I've done my bit for the planet. But why the hell would you want to have an organism that makes your legs shake? I mean, what's that about? I mean, I think it was some kind of they don't take into account I'm but ugly and lonely, gonna have to try it out on myself. Yeah, I don't think it works like that. But you can sock it to yourself, I suppose. This is a brilliant idea. I keep a universal remote in my bag to turn down the pub's TVs if they are too loud. And to be fair, my most popular video of all time is a one for all how to set up and get going video. So there you go. It's had how many hundreds, thousands of views? It's ridiculous. Let's have a look. Let's go on that. Let's go on that. Let's go on that. Let's go on that. Let's go on content. Let's go on. Don't forget to like, share, join in the comments. You will get a mention at the end of the broadcast filter. Views. Apply. Value. 1. Go. Apply. Oh, okay. That doesn't work. I just want to look at how many analytics. There we go. God's sakes. There it is. Unboxing and setup of One for All Contour. Went up on in February 2022, and it so far had 390,000 views. I've had 617 subscribers from it, and I made over £1,000 from it over the number of years. And it says here, views 390,000, which is 389,000.2 more than usual. So it's one off. It's my viral video. And who said viruses were man-made? You're right, I'm a man and I made that. So it is a man-made viral thing. Gotta laugh. Thank you, Toff. Right, I'm very scared of doing breaking news because I've not watched the Grand Prix yet, because it's a weird time thing. But because I love you all so much, I think it's only fair I risk finding out the result of the Grand Prix by looking at the breaking news. So, Food Hub plans for Blackpool resubmitted after update. Wirral line surface update after flooding at Moorfields Station. Fire chiefs warn of growing risk of V-bike explosions, the batteries in them. I'm worried about electric cars, I'll be honest with you. How to know if you're vitamin D deficient and what to do about it. I just walk around with no top on. The greatest Doctor Who's ranked. Who's your favourite Doctor Who? I'm going to go with, of all time, most people say Tom Baker. My Doctor when I was a kid was John Pertwee. But I think my favourite is Tennant, although I didn't like him particularly much when he come back. But anyway, he's early Tennant. Lib Dems gain most council seats in last 5 years, party data shows. It should be Labour, but it's not, because Labour's got Keir Starmer in front of them. Graham McCormack pulls out of SNP leadership race. I didn't know he was in it. Paving the way for John Swiney. Suella Braverman. Tories will be lucky to have any MPs next election, which is not obviously looked at what's going on. Peace and Gaza looks distant as ever as Israel refused to accept ceasefire terms because they're warmongering bastards. Student protesters disrupt University of Michigan graduation. Lord of the Rings and Titanic actor Bernard Hill dies. We've already covered that. Maps show how much the Conservatives were battered across the UK local elections, and Sadiq Khan got back in again. Oh dear. Local election results in full. Yeah, I didn't actually get in. Charming coastal town on the edge of Lancaster. What you need to car insurance. Latest businesses shame for not paying tax in Greater Manchester, including top-rated restaurants. Yeah, okay. I think a small business you can let off. It's the Amazons and it's the Starbucks and the other massive companies who are not paying taxes. Google and all them kind of people who are not paying the taxes. They're the ones you should be chasing, not little tiny restaurants. AI futuristic images show Blackpool coastline could have 3D coral reefs by 2074 because the sea's warming up. Supermarket opening hours for the bank holiday weekend, because it is bank holiday. New AI cameras catch hundreds of drivers on phones in just 1 week, and people are complaining that it's invading their civil rights. Well, no, it's against the law to use a mobile phone whilst driving, unless it's secure, which is what I do with mine. I only set off and tamper with mine when the vehicle is in a parked up position. I do not use my phone at all when I am driving. And I think that could be it. Oh, hang on, that's Wigan Wallgate. What's that? Railway line blocked due to overrunning engineering works, and it's a picture of Wigan Wallgate railway station. Wigan's got two railway stations. Used to have 3. Right, anyway. Have we got anyone who's put in no? Labour to open floodgates, yeah. It's going to be absolutely horrendous. Liz Truss. I've always said about Keir Starmer, because obviously we had the Liz Truss thing, and I always said about Keir Starmer, we could recreate Liz Truss, well, Keir Starmer as Liz Truss, by getting a lettuce and just pouring water on it, because that is basically what Keir Starmer is. He's a wet lettuce. And the thought of him running the country terrifies me. The thought of Rishi Sunak running the country doesn't fill me with confidence. But if I had to put a cross in a box at the moment, it would go with Rishi, it wouldn't go with Keir, if they were the only two to vote for. And I think any other vote would be wasted. And I think if you vote for reform, or if you vote for other parties, that vote will spread. So we need to vote tactically to keep Labour out. But that means keeping the Tories in. And I'm like, I don't want the Tories in, but I want Labour in less. Keir Starmer's a Davos puppet. Yeah, he's absolutely is. He's a very dangerous man. He's in a suit. Anyway, that is it for the news this week. We only had 2 likes, which is a bit disappointing, unless of course you disagree with what I say, but that's fine. We've got 8 concurrent viewers at the minute, 9 maybe. Average view duration is 11 minutes and 55 seconds. A lot of people will be in and out in about 1 second. I've had another like, so we've gone up to 3. So big shout out to the Calderdale Top Cat, Stephen LFC with Rollo and Kelly. Rollo. Gordy Everton as well. Dream Frequency and Jamie. Toffs TV, Reese. Andrew Emerson, Angela O'Kane, Urban Blonde, Finn Reviews, Urban Blonde, Dimp Liz Kit, big fan of Limp Bizkit, I would imagine, and that's it. It's still a 2-party system. Everything else is a vote splitter. Makes it harder to vote tactically. Yeah. I mean, as I said in my, I don't know whether you're here for my bit when I was on about the election, because I stood in the local council. Oh, got 6 likes, thank you everyone. I stood in the local election as an independent, and if I come second to Labour, but if you doubled my vote, I would have been just short of Labour. However, I was miles ahead of the other 2, the Tories and the Lib Dems. If you added the Tory vote and the Lib Dem vote together, and then doubled it, that would just have beat me. That's how many votes I got. But sadly, I only got just under half the votes of what Labour got. But it is what it is. That's politics. First past the post and all that. And I don't necessarily agree that PR is a way forward. Can you replicate a Limp Bizkit song? Can I replicate one? Nobody knows what it's like behind blue eyes. That's not even one of theirs, to be fair. I was shocked when I found out it was actually a Who cover. The Who did it first. But that's my favourite Limp Bizkit song. I quite like Blink-182 as well. This has gone off at a tangent. Quite like Blink-182 as well, but my favourite song by them is Miss You, which is not necessarily a Blink-182 song. I mean, it is a Blink-182 song, but it's not a typical Blink-182, because they're like, all the small things and all that kind of stuff. What's my name again? What's my age again, even? And all that kind of stuff. I will make a good counsellor. Don't put it in past tense, Dream Frequency. I will make a good counsellor. Just have to figure out when and where. Change of tactic, maybe. Change of location, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, got 2 years to figure it out. Pardon me. Oh, pardon me again. So yeah, I've been on for 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is about average for these things. JT, you still listen. I've been on for 1 hour 45, so you can probably go for a break now, or certainly in the next 15 minutes or so. I've not been on. I think he gets up early in the morning. It's a bit late now, 10 o'clock at night, but it suits me better for a Sunday. Takes the pressure off a little bit, although it's still late tonight. So yeah, big shout out to everyone. Oh, got 7 likes now, thank you. Big shout out to And yeah, all being well, I will see you soon. I may be doing a broadcast tomorrow, a live broadcast. It might be gaming related, it might be not gaming related, I don't know. But it's Bank Holiday Monday, so I might do something tomorrow, but don't hold me on that. I'm working tomorrow, obviously, because I work every day of the week, which I don't mind. I do like working, and yeah. Oh, I did mention before that I don't like Star Wars, but I like the Star Wars universe. I've got a mini AT-AT. I love AT-ATs. I think they're cool. AT-ATs are cool. So I've got a little mini AT-AT. You've got a stormtrooper somewhere as well, but I don't know where he's gone. He stormed off. Don't forget Alone in the Dark remake. Yeah, we'll have a look at that Dream Frequency. Anyway, thank you particularly to the regulars and the moderators. Forgot what they were called then. Do a great job. Thank you very much, and also thank you to the new regulars as well. It's good to have you on here. You should play that bus game. I played that bus game. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I was like, don't like that. Them games I played yesterday were rubbish. But I did like RoboCop. Da 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 dum 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 da 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 dum dum da 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 dum they were rubbish. That's why they were rubbish. Anyway, I get the idea that you're up with me at the minute, but I'm on a massive delay on mine, so I don't quite know what's going on there. 146.9, 146. Yeah, it's on 146, so it's the same thing, but it's different. I don't know what that's about. What's going on there? Why is it so? I don't know. I've just set myself up in my chair. That's how far behind I am. I've just set myself up in my chair. Anyway. But I'm going to play RoboCop myself tomorrow. No worries, Dream Frequency. We'll see you all again. So indeed, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. And I like the bus game. Well, the bus game was alright, Andrew. But yeah, it also wasn't at the same time. Wasn't for me. I like doing Bus Simulator on Grand Theft Auto 5 because you've got an element of jeopardy, which is the other people online just blowing you up for the sake of it. But yeah, look after yourselves, stay safe, and don't panic. World War III won't be happening, at least for a couple of hours, so we're alright. Going to dedicate my next Fortnite Victory Royale to you. Well, thank you, Finn. I appreciate that. It means a lot. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.